Weinstein of YeastRadio.com, and this is Justin Polera of PulpIsTaken.com. This is the 4th episode of the Untitled Show, where we talk about what's going on in the world and in the arts.
Madge, what is that thing around your neck?
It's a neck brace.
What for?
Well, I was hoping this wouldn't come up, but I was in the sauna at the gym and I was trying to eat this woman out, and I kind of twisted my neck when she grabbed my face with her knees during a climax.
Sounds painful.
Yeah, it was.
All right. Well, back to our show.
For my part, I'd like to do something a little different today.
Like in the steam room.
I'd like to talk about the AIDS. To be blunt, I just want to take some time to make sure everyone knows about post-exposure prophylaxis, or PEP for short. Now, I may get in trouble from some of the politically correct for saying this, but PEP is essentially a morning after pill for HIV exposure.
Can you only take it the morning after? Sorry.
Can you shut up?
Shutting up.
I'll get there. Many people don't know that if you go to the doctor right after a potential HIV exposure, you have a very good chance of being able to eradicate the virus from your body before it has a chance to attach itself to your body permanently. It almost sounds like a cure, doesn't it? Well, in a way, I suppose it is. But the catch, if you'll excuse my pun, is that it's only effective within the first 72 hours of HIV exposure. Now, before I continue, please understand that while I am a lesbian, I am not a health professional, nor am I qualified in any way to give medical advice. I know many people who have gotten the HIV recently, and I find it tragic to know that if they had received PEP, they probably would not be HIV positive right now. In my discussion with gay men's, I have found that most people feel ashamed after they have had an unsafe sexual experience. It seems, and this is just my opinion, mind you, that this shame causes people to sublimate their concern that they may have contracted the HIV virus. By the time these people allow the reality of their possible HIV exposure to surface to their conscious mind, it's often too late for PEP to eradicate the virus. This is a shame. Now, I don't know why there's not more public education about the availability of PEP. Regardless, I have the following non-clinical and simple advice to keep in the back of your mind for when you have a sexual slip-up. Don't try to figure it out yourself. Call your doctor and let him or her make the call after a potential exposure. You may find yourself trying to figure out whether or not the behavior was truly risky or not. Perhaps you think the person was HIV negative or you're not sure. Maybe you only had oral sex, whatever. Please don't try to figure it out yourself by looking up websites and all this. You are not a doctor. Call your doctor, tell him or her in no uncertain terms what happened. Do not lie about any aspect of your experience, and let him or her tell you whether or not you need PEP. If you don't have a doctor, then go to your local HIV clinic or emergency room. Everyone makes mistakes, even lesbians. Sometimes we make big mistakes. So please call your doctor if you have an unsafe sexual experience. And please make sure all of your friends know about PEP. Thanks. Okay, so Justin, what's going on in the arts?
Right before we get to the arts, Madge, I'd like to add that there's an interesting article about the potential that if someone is on HIV medicine and they're HIV positive, there's a way lower chance of them transmitting the virus to sexual partners.
You're welcome.
Thank you. In San Francisco, the Friede collection of tribal art from New Guinea is embattled in a lawsuit. The Friede collection is the most complete and best collection of its kind. In 2005, John Friede and his wife promised the entire collection of 40,000 works to the De Young Museum in San Francisco. But now the collection may be broken up between feuding family members. This brings up one of the biggest issues in museums today: repatriation. Museums around the world have been surveying their collections to discover lost or stolen property and have been returning it to its rightful place. Most famously is the returning of artwork stolen by the Nazis from Jewish families during World War II. Repatriation also refers to the returning of antiquities to the countries where they were found. In Chicago, James Cuno, director of the Art Institute of Chicago, gave a talk on creating the encyclopedic museums against repatriation of antiquity. Also in Chicago, the Museum of Contemporary Art prepares for a new exhibition of the mother of text art, Jenny Holzer. Holzer has spent the past 30 years transforming text into visual art in surprising and beautiful ways. Her most recent transformation has been the launching of a Twitter page as art. In London, the young British art duo Jack and Dinos Chapman recreate their 80s sculpture of Hell. The original sculpture, ironically, was destroyed in a factory fire. They also tackle Hitler as a hippie artist. In a new exhibition, if Hitler had been a hippie, would he have been happier? At White Cube Gallery in London. In New York, the duo Gilbert and George, who mentored the Chapman brothers, are finishing their own retrospective at the Brooklyn Museum. This duo is most famous for living sculpture turned into large-scale photo collages. Their work juxtaposes body fluids, sexuality, and the body politic.
Oh, speaking of semen, there's one more thing I'd like to add about the AIDS and PEP. I talked with Dr. Daniel Berger, who runs the North Star Medical Center in Chicago, which specializes in treating HIV/AIDS. Berger says, contrary to my opinion, which was based on, well, nothing, most people are not ashamed that they are having unsafe sex. This according to Berger's experience treating over 5,000 patients over 20 plus years. Also, Dr. Berger wanted me to point out that PEP is not a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You can receive it more than once. So if you think you might need help with a possible HIV exposure, please feel free to call North Star for help. And their website is nstarmedical.com. That's letter N, starmedical.com.
Well, that's all.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Gosh darn it. And we'll see you next time. Remember, you can send your suggestions, comments, and please send your critiques, especially if you yourself are an artist or an asshole. Send your critiques to, what is it?
pulpistaken@gmail.com. Thank you.
Don't look at me.
Don't look at you.